ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
We do begin with breaking news. San Diego Unified School District now planning to welcome back all students by mid-April. That major change impacting tens of thousands of students. ABC 10 News reporter Jared Aarons joining us live in the Live Center. And Jared, what do you know?
Well, Jim, we just learned about this in the last 20 minutes from Board President Richard Barrera, who announced that teachers will be going back at the beginning of April, the first Monday, and students the Monday after. Here are those dates for you so you can see how it will all play out. On April 5th, teachers will return to the classroom, and then on April 12th, students will go back into the classrooms. This is for all grades, K through 12, but Barrera says parents will still have the option to keep kids in remote learning if they choose to. We've talked to Barrera about lots of things. Jim, you did the interview and he talked about vaccines, he talked about reopening, he talked about safety. A lot of information to digest right now, and we're going to break it down for you all over the next hour. In the Live Center, Jared Aarons, ABC 10 News.
Jared, appreciate those solid bullet points. Of course, I had a chance to talk to Barrera just a few minutes ago, which is how we learned all of this. We'll have that full interview coming up at 11:30. Appreciate what you've done right now, and you've been working double time today. We have another story from you coming up momentarily. Thank you very much, sir. Well, after weeks of supply issues, some new signs of life in the nationwide vaccine rollout. This morning, in a briefing with Congress leaders from the companies producing vaccines for the U.S., they say the country should have millions more doses by the end of next month. Here's a quick breakdown of what they say we can expect. Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson all saying they plan to ramp up production, as you see here. Altogether, they estimate that the U.S. will have received 240 million doses by the end of March. Well, in the midst of all that optimism over the vaccine supplies, the Petco Park Vaccination Superstation is open once again. It had been closed since Friday. It's the second shutdown in as many weeks. ABC 10 News reporter Jared Aarons spent the morning at the site, says things are running smoothly so far, but for many people, there's no more time for another delay.
It's been a steady stream of cars Tuesday morning at the Petco Park Vaccination Superstation. You can see a line of traffic stretches for a few blocks in each direction. This site's been closed since Friday because of weather-related delays. But UC San Diego says they got a batch of 10,000 Moderna vaccines Monday night. They sent half of it here to get this site going again. By dawn's early light, cars began streaming into the Petco vaccine site, people eager to make their second shot a first priority.
Especially working in the healthcare field, we need it, and I think it's important. So, no, I'm happy. I mean, a week later is better than nothing. Yeah.
Now the push begins to catch up for missed appointments. The CDC recommends getting the second shot 21 to 28 days after the first, but says it can be as late as 42 days. Some people worry their rescheduled appointment is too close to that deadline.
There is no wiggle room.
Richard Schiff's rescheduled appointment would have been on day 42. He found a second shot elsewhere, but worries others may not be so lucky.
If there are weather incidents like we've just had, and there probably will be more, there's no way really to ensure that the vaccine that's produced is going to get to the places where it can get into the arm.
UC San Diego says its schedulers are aware of the issue, and people who are closest to the end of that 42-day interval get priority for their appointment. Meanwhile, millions more people are about to become eligible for their first shot. Governor Newsom says teachers, police, and other essential workers can get a vaccine starting March 1st, and people with severe underlying conditions starting March 15th. Doctors say that can only happen if supply keeps up and the county works through its plan.
And I've even had patients come to me say, well, I know that I'm going to get vaccinated on March 15th because the governor said so. And that's just a little bit divorced from reality, mostly because of the scarcity of our supply.
The governor says supply shouldn't be an issue. California is set to receive 1.5 million doses of the vaccine this week, one of the largest shipments it's gotten yet. At Petco Park, Jared Aarons, ABC 10 News.
Just about an hour ago, Governor Newsom signing off on a state stimulus package which will send money directly to low-income Californians. Lawmakers approved $600 payments to people with low to moderate incomes. That includes those who claim the California Earned Income Tax Credit for typically making $30,000 or less. Immigrants who pay taxes using a taxpayer ID number and make no more than $75,000 a year. People state lawmakers say are struggling but missing out on federal relief. Also eligible, people who get assistance from state programs benefiting low-income families and individuals who are blind or disabled. Meanwhile, we're still waiting on Congress to finalize that federal stimulus package. One of the impacts that bill could have, easing the burden on parents by expanding child tax credits. Scripps national political editor Joe St. George has more on that aspect of the relief bill and the possible impact it could have.
Being a parent is expensive. A recent study by the Department of Agriculture found the cost of raising a child through age 17 is now $233,610 on average. But parents, more help could be on the way.
While the possibility for more stimulus checks receives the most headlines, the new stimulus bill for the moment includes an expansion of the child tax credit. And if you're a parent out there, that has the potential to make a big difference.
Under the proposal in Congress, parents of children who are 5 and under would qualify for a tax credit worth $3,600 per child. Parents of children who are 17 and under would qualify for a $3,000 per child credit. That's on average a $1,000 increase per child from current laws. And while the increased credit phases out for couples making more than $150,000 a year, that number could change before the final bill is signed into law.
The persistence of child poverty in America is really a national disgrace.
Tazra Mitchell is a policy advisor with the D.C. Fiscal Institute and says the biggest change is lawmakers are considering making some of the money available in monthly installments, like a monthly stimulus check, if you will. Mitchell says the point of that is to address child poverty in our country.
With each month, you would get a check that would help you make ends meet, put food on the table, and provide for your child.
Recent studies by the federal government show at least 14% of U.S. children live in poverty. That's over 10 million kids. Mitchell used to be part of that statistic.
My brother, my dad, and I, we were living in a motel, and thankfully it was tax season, and that was the only reason why we didn't end up in a shelter.
Right now on Capitol Hill, there's debate whether this extra money should be for just this year or permanent for years to come. Expect more on this in the coming days. The House of Representatives is set to vote on the latest stimulus bill by the end of the week. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
A big vote expected today could bring a years-long fight over short-term vacation rentals in San Diego to a close. For years, the city of San Diego has been trying to figure out how to regulate short-term rentals. And now today, the city council is finally set to vote on a new set of rules. They'll consider an ordinance that would cap the number of homes used primarily for vacation rentals. Hosts would have to apply for licenses, and the city would step up nuisance enforcement.
Neither side is going to be completely happy with the result, but there will be a result. There will be a clear path forward. There'll be a foundation, and we'll know what the rules are moving forward.
Spokesman for the Safe San Diego Neighborhoods group urged the council to reject the ordinance due to concerns over housing supply and infrastructure. If the ordinance is passed, it would take effect January 1st, 2022.